So here's a crazy one about a guy. He's in his late 20s. He's been with his girl for 3 years, engaged for 3 years, all set to be married. And when his girl went on a 6-week trip to Europe, I think, she messaged him, texted him at the gate telling him that she's going to take a break. In other words, they're breaking up so she can go have fun with dudes in Europe with her girlfriends, and gave him no way to answer or respond to that, blocked him, and off she went. And the guy handled things like a boss because he then ended their relationship and canceled their wedding. And then she comes back and then loses her mind when he handled it that way. I'll be very going to go over here, guys, to show you two things. Number one, you can't tolerate any BS. You can't tolerate any BS, and if someone shows you who they are by acting that cruel and heartless towards you, they obviously don't love you. And number two, you're going to see how he is twisted around to be the bad guy in this situation for not forgiving her or taking her back from her family, girlfriends, all that. It's ridiculous. And it's amazing to me how if a guy did the same thing, he would be the root of all evil. But if a gal does it, the guy's just supposed to forgive her, which is complete nonsense. Titled, Am I Wrong for Canceling Our Wedding? He says, we've been engaged for 3 years. My fiancée went on a trip of a lifetime 6 weeks in Europe. She decided that we would take a break in our relationship, allowing me no input in the decision. But what does that say about her perception of this guy? Her perception of this guy is that he's weak. He's obviously the guy that she's settling with to marry, and he'll just go along with this because she has no respect for him. Probably settled for a guy that could be the marriage material type when she was done riding the carousel, Chad and Tyrone. But joke's on her and him that she wanted to ride the carousel again when they're about to get married. I called her the day she left, and she had me blocked. So I canceled our marriage and her moving in with me in March. Good for you, bro. I'm so sorry that this happened to you. I'm sorry you wasted so many years with her, but you can't marry her. She called me today to inform me of her arrival time on Thursday morning, to which I answered, what does that have to do with me? And have since blocked her. It continues, I should explain better. I was fine with her trip with her old college sisters. In fact, I dropped her at the airport and took her to boarding. That is when she just dropped the whole break thing on me. Didn't explain it, just told me matter of fact and left. So, my bad, she didn't text him. He dropped her off at the airport, gave her a kiss, and then she informed him, oh, we're taking a break. No choice in that. Does that sound like a girl that A, respects her guy, B, loves him? No. And she shouldn't be going on these girl trips. I called her the rest of the day and tried to call her when I was able to the rest of the week. After 5 days of ignoring me, I had enough that the wedding was off. She can move in with someone else because it's not going to be me. This poor guy. Tells him that, leaves him broken, and blocks him. She is a heartless... I mean, who the fuck does that? She's a total sociopath. But, well, she's going to get what's coming to her. He says, a little update. We have a group chat among people close to us. Today I informed them that our marriage is canceled and our relationship is over. I did that around 10 o'clock in the morning. The chat quite literally exploded. I started with questions about what happened, which I answered honestly. About 2 p.m., she started just asking me to call her so we could discuss this. There's nothing to discuss. Our marriage ended the second you said we're taking a break and ignored me. I told her that talking on chat is perfectly fine, and she said, no, this is something just between us. Still, I've not spoken with her. Last message from her at 6 p.m. Please pick me up at the airport, she said, so we can talk about this as we planned. I answered her, that was your plan, not mine. None of this was my plan. Her flight is at 9 a.m. I wish her luck. See? She thinks he's that weak guy that she perceived him as, and clearly he's not, and she's shocked. Another update. He says, first off, I got my ring back, and it's safe with my mom. Wonderful. Secondly, I'd like to thank everyone for keeping me grounded while I was doubting myself. I'm not sure who said it, but someone said that I shouldn't bother with what she did on her trip and focus on her breaking up with me at the airport, which I did and was not what she was prepared to argue about. So now she knows how it feels to be blindsided also. It seems her college sisters told her I would be insecure and fight about something I couldn't hope to prove. Labeling him, when a man stands up for himself or rightfully establishes boundaries, he's insecure. Again, these all come from the Hobag handbook that they use, these type of bullshit lines on the guys. So when she didn't know what to do. At one point, she excused herself to go to the restroom and didn't come back for 20 minutes. It seems the brain trust was at a loss to do. So do you vacation? Any issues? So he has a whole section of little updates and comments he makes in response to people's questions. And basically this guy, at this point, decides that he's going to take a trip himself. He's no longer engaged and takes a trip. And there's a lot of things back and forth. If you want to look it up, it's interesting. So I'm sticking to the main highlights. Now, some of his comments responding to what's going on here, he says, he spoke with her parents last night. It woke me up, and they must have forgotten about the time difference between the coasts. They offered to pay for couples therapy to help us work through this rough patch, as her mother called it. I told them no thank you. She ended our relationship. See, this is why a guy has to control the narrative, because otherwise the girl will. Guarantee they didn't get the whole story. And probably the parents, they want grandkids, and they were hoping for a wedding, so they don't care about him. But very likely she didn't tell her parents everything. Another one. He says, it's funny how a woman can do creaky stalker crap and it's fine. But a guy does the same thing and he's straight going to jail. Baffling to me. She's leaving letters for me and with people she knows that I will interact with. Like the security guy at my building with my receptionist at work. The letters themselves are a little more than pleading with me to not throw us away for nothing and professing her love for me. Not throw them away. She threw you away at the airport. You dropped her off to say goodbye, give her a kiss and a hug, and she says, oh, by the way, we're breaking up, taking a break. Goodbye, and blocks you. And I'm willing to bet she's going to blame her friends for that. Why did she do that? Because she doesn't love him. And she expected him to just take it and put up with it. And he says, also, I'd like to thank everyone for helping me stand back up. I was depressed and feeling quite worthless. I leave tomorrow for my first trip across the pond. I think they say I'm going to nerd out with my buddy and explore Edinburgh, which in the pics looks absolutely amazing. I will try to keep my Reddit family updated as much as I can. Once again, thank you so much. Good for him. He needs to get out of here. Go to Europe, maybe he can nail some Scottish chicks. Scotland's on my list. I've never been to Scotland. I went to Ireland a couple summers ago. Scotland is definitely pretty soon. I heard a lot of cool things about that. I may even try some haggis. I may barf in the bathroom after having some haggis, but I'll try it. Another one, new development. Two of her friends from the trip called me last night about 2 hours apart. Both condemned me for my actions, saying fun things like how much he truly loves me and I'm acting like a spoiled little boy. My favorite. How can I treat someone I'm supposed to love as bad as I am? Of course your friends are calling to gaslight you, but smack to you for not blocking them. Maybe you're enjoying giving some feedback and info to the Reddit community, I don't know what, but block those harpies. Another one. I don't really have one, but I'm enjoying visiting Scotland. Her friends started calling me again last night. Blocked them, dude. And Rich, one just called me. Really pissed me off. She said my ex deserves better than me. I agreed with her and said I wish her luck in her next endeavor and hung up and blocked that number. Good for you, amigo. It's about fucking time. But anyhow, you got a little satisfaction. Her friend, it's always amazing. Again, more of the hoe bag handbook shit. It's clockwork. They don't like it, then they get their friends involved, bombarding you, trying to shame you. And typical weak, nice guys will fall for the shaming tactics of her and their friends. But she obviously misjudged this guy. And he has a lot of posts about him going to Scotland, having a good time there. And he had some pictures I saw, which is awesome. Anytime, guys, you're going through hardships, when you can deal with the shock of it, that's a good time for a good vacation or trip with somebody you can trust. He's there with one of his bros, so good for him. So anyhow, guys, right there. It's amazing. He handled it like a boss. And again, this is why, remember, guys, if you weren't exactly, rolling with the ladies in high school and college, and then all of a sudden a type of gal that wouldn't give you a chance started to when you're mid-20s, when you started to establish yourself and everything. And it's usually because they're ready to get a ring on their finger. They're ready to take a break from the bad boys for a little bit, find their nice guy who they think will be loyal and loving, and they can walk all over, get him to propose, and then they wait to get married to cheat, or they'll start this, let's take a break crap before they get married. Let's have a last-minute open relationship before we get married. That's what happens a lot, and it's sad. And so good for this guy. So watch out for that, guys, for you relationship of guys. And, of course, you saw how they're making out to be the bad guy for actually standing up for himself. Much you can learn from these short stories.